Well, it's not morning. It's sort of, it's not quite, it's the middle of the day. I was going to say it's not quite morning, not quite afternoon. Makes it noon, right? Kind of noon. And I realized after I uploaded yesterday's video, I forgot to make a book recommendation. So I'm not quite back in the swing of things. I'm going to just do the book recommendation right off the bat. Last week on the Book versus Movie podcast, we covered a childhood favorite of mine. I mean, I was surprised how much I remembered this movie almost line by line. But I'd never read the book. And that movie and book are Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas by Russell and Lillian Hoban, which of course was later adapted into the Muppet classic. And if you're a Gen Xer, maybe you're a grandparent, maybe you're watching this and you're a younger parent, this is such a great book. The illustrations are so adorable. And it's a wonderful opportunity to introduce your children and grandchildren to this, I think, rather forgotten classic. I'm surprised how many people in my own generation don't remember this movie. I remember it being on television. It was a big deal. Like, we watched it all the time. But maybe it wasn't that big of a deal to other folks. But nevertheless, it is so charming. The effects are remarkable. The songs are exquisite, but the actual story, the book itself, the source material, is all of those things. Somehow, in just the reading experience, you get the music. It's filled with music. You get the cozy scenery and all of that. I really recommend Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Now, today, we're continuing our series of things I no longer do after 50, or try not to do after 50. And this one yesterday was kind of like a little practical tip. This is kind of a bigger one. And that is not getting too attached to the outcome of my plans. In other words, I love to plan. There's a planner flip on this channel a little earlier on. I use a paper planner, and it's a hobby of mine, I would say. And I enjoy filling out the family calendar for everybody to see what's going on in the month. But when you get to be our age, you've lived through some stuff, right? I myself, look, I was in Lower Manhattan during September 11th. I did not plan to witness a terrorist attack that day. People in our 50s, we've lost people very close to us that we perhaps never thought we would lose. Maybe friends. I have friends who I lost to illnesses, in their 30s. And by the time you get to this age, if you're lucky enough to get to this age, that life/God has a way of laughing at your plans, And also, when we make our plans and we get way too attached to the image in our mind of how things are going to be, we also close ourselves off to it being better than we can imagine. So, yeah. And also, you just cause yourself a lot of grief. Somebody we know, a friend of ours, says, what's the expression? Give me a second. Oh, I remember. Here it is. Expectations are planned resentments, meaning when you get too married to your expectations, you are setting yourself up to be resentful and angry. And this is something that I have to admit I did a lot in my younger days, especially when my kids were really little. If I was planning a birthday party, I had it in my mind how everything was going to go and the timeline of it and all that. And of course it never did. And then I would get upset about it. And I was really missing out on a lot of the actual good things that were going on around me because I was so attached to the image in my mind that my plans were planning for, right? All of this is to say, I'm here today at the plant nursery. I'm very lucky in San Diego. We have a lot of family-owned plant nurseries, so I don't have to go to a big box store. And I'm here because before I left for my trip, I said to my daughter, who's in college, would you please make sure to water my plants while I am away? And when I returned, it was raining and dark. And so I didn't have a chance to really see what was going on in the garden. And that evening I said to my daughter, she doesn't live with us, but she lives close to us and she's at the house every day. I said, did you water the plants? And she had totally forgotten to water the plants. Had walked by the plants every single day that I was gone, but they did not enter her consciousness somehow. Now, when I asked her to water the plants, I knew that that was a possibility because that has happened before. So I just have to accept when I travel, which is frequently, that some of my plants may not be there when I return. And so consequently, I am here at the plant nursery to look for some things, some winter plants that will fill in some of the bald spots, if you will, in my garden. And I don't know what I'm going to find. We'll go see what's there. Again, I have no expectations. I might not find anything. You know, this just might be a fun time just walking around the nursery, which I love to do. Looking at plants that are alive. So, but I'm not, as you can see, I'm not that upset about it. I knew that that was a possibility. And I have to say, like, the plants, it's not that I'm not attached to my plants. I'm definitely attached to my plants. But the plants that I am attached to the most, that I would genuinely be upset if they perished, are my roses. And they tend to be quite hardy. They tend to survive, you know, a college student's neglect for a time. So I'm going to go see what's in the nursery. But all of this is to say, yeah, just you will save yourself a lot of stress and have a lot more fun, I think. If you planning is great. Planning is great. I love when, you know, something goes wrong and I have the exact perfect thing in my bag for that situation. Somebody has spilled coffee all over them and I'm the one with the shout wipes, right? But I also have learned the value of just not being too married to the image that is in my head of what the future is going to look like. It might be better. There will definitely be things I don't expect. So, you know, just don't get too, daydreaming is fun, but let's not get too attached to the future in our minds. Because we might miss a lot. So that's all I have to say for today. That's Vlogmas Day 14. I'm going to go have a look around the nursery. Bye, everybody.